Suzanne Gervay is an Australian author of books for children and young adults. Born into a family of Hungarian refugees who resettled in Australia, she has spent her writing career fighting to empower the weak, be they the bullied, the disabled, or those who've had to start a life anew in a foreign country. We met up with her during the Istanbul Tanpinar Literature Festival.
The scene is terribly familiar. A family crossing a border while fleeing a conflict. The search for safety and the hope for a new life. Landing in a foreign and strange country. The only difference is that it happened over 60 years ago. This is the early life of Suzanne Gervay, an award-winning Australian author of Hungarian descent.
Being a refugee, and my parents sort of left their home, which they loved. They didn't want to leave their home, and it was really hard not speaking the language of another country. And they lost everything, and they made the great journey to Australia. They were selected from a refugee camp, and they made their life there. As a child of refugees, we're quiet, but we are part of our parents' journey. Children feel everything.
In Turkey to meet her readers, Suzanne Gervay writes for children and young adults. Her most acclaimed series is I Am Jack, the story of a bullied kid that was inspired by Gervais' own son.
Now, when I found out, when his friend told me, I cried and cried because my son was afraid, and it felt like my parents' journey, my amazing parents who sacrificed everything for us. So I wrote that book, and my son was very proud of it, and I called it I Am Jack because it says, I am somebody, I am important, every child is important, every person is important and should be everything they can be. So that's what drives all my books.
The head of the Society of Children's Books Writers and Illustrators in Australia, Suzanne Gervay insists on building awareness of the plight of refugees in her writings. She also touches issues relating to disability and does not shy away from problematic topics such as divorce or cancer.
You know, when my son discovered I had cancer, oh, by the way, I didn't die, okay? Good news. But when my son discovered it, it was like his world fell apart. And you know, I wrote Always Jack because books are an enormously powerful way to connect with young people and give them the experience safely to navigate life.
George Hamill heard everything. Jack does what his weird mummy says. Don't you, Jack?
While I Am Jack has been turned into a play that has been touring the world, Gervais continues to work for the rights of children and their families.
Weirdo!
In her quest for a better world, she has just published an ambitious multi-faith book about peace. Elephants Have Wings.
I want to make the world safer for children and for adults because it's, you know, the kids actually know that the world is at war. They do know it, and they're afraid. So I was very inspired by that, and I created Elephants Have Wings, which is a philosophy book for children. And the biggest quote is in it that says, I am right, but I am wrong. And kids will talk about that endlessly. How can I be right and wrong? And it makes children who are very young open the question of tolerance and inclusion. And that is the only hope forward. And as a child of refugees, that is my greatest wish.